Hey everybody, this is Oliver Joyce, and it's been about a month, nearly a month, since Swords and Sandals Immortals was launched back on the 10th of March. This video is basically a little breakdown for me, not like a mental breakdown, but sometimes you feel like that, but just a bit of a breakdown on how the game went. I guess a lot of you guys have been following me for the duration of this game's development, and, a lot of you a lot longer. And you're probably curious to see how the game went. Now, I'm not going to give you exact numbers, but I got a couple of graphs to show you. We're going to go through a few reviews, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll just give you my thoughts, just to sort of a little post-mortem on the game and what I'm up to at the moment. All right, let's just jump in. All right, so we're on the Steam page right now, and it's probably as good a place as any to begin our journey. The game was released, as I said, on the 10th of March, but it was actually released in early access on the 27th of May last year, I believe. So it was in early access for around about 9 months, or about as long as a human baby. The game dev journey for this one began actually, over 2 years ago now, so about 2 years and a couple of months. So making it officially the biggest and longest game I ever made. And so it needed to do pretty well sales-wise to justify that, because I was working on this full-time. I paid an artist for all the art, and I had musicians working on the game and everything. So this was a big financial commitment to me, so I really needed it to do well. And how did it go? Well, early access, I'm going to show you a couple of graphs later, and we'll go through that. Early access had a big spike, and then it sort of tailed off a lot. And then again, with the full launch, big spike, and then we actually headed into like a Steam sale, so it was quite a long spike of about 2.5 weeks of great sales, and then once again that sort of curve flattened. So I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But okay, so when the game was in early access, it had a lot of good reviews. It was sitting at about sort of between 80 and 90% positive. When it went into full launch, it was at 90% positive. And now here, you can't really see this because I've got the dark mode on, but it's actually sitting at 88% positive across all reviews. So 679 reviews, 88% positive. Recent reviews, however, are sitting at very positive still, but down to 81%. And I got a few theories behind that. Well, let's just go through them, right? So when I first released this game, it was more expensive. It was something like, so it's $14.50 Australian, so $9.95 US. It was something like $16 or $17 US, translate to about $25 Australian. So more expensive. And I think because of that, you got a bit more of a judicious audience, an audience that actually researched the game, watched the videos, read about the game, even read other reviews before deciding to buy the game. Now, there was a lot less sales because of that, but the sales are of a higher quality. And so you tended to get more thumbs up reviews from people who'd actually done their research and decided this was the game for them. When you lower the price to a more sort of impulse buy price point of about $9.95, you tend to get more sales, roughly double the sales or even more. But by the same token, you tend to get a lot more, thumbs up, thumbs down, those kind of sales. And we're going to go through them in a second. Gels. Before we go to the reviews, which are always fun to read, and you need a pretty thick skin for them, I want to show you this page from the Steamworks site, which is basically all my breakdown on the sales and so on. Now, I can't give you the exact data. I got a business partner and there's financial considerations and that kind of thing, so I can't give you exact numbers. But what I can show you is this chart here. So May 27th was when the game launched, right? And you can see this big spike here. This was the result of basically all those people who had wishlisted the game. I can't remember how many wishlists altogether, but there might have been about 15,000 or something like that. So quite a lot. And then a lot of those people bought the game right at the beginning. And, that was the second biggest day altogether. That was huge. And then it kind of went down and up and down. Another spike then when Critical did a Twitch stream of the game, and that, created quite a big sales impact. But then it went down and slowly sort of peeled out. And that looks like it's flatlining, but it's not, because every single day the game still sells, and you combine this with the sales figures of the other games, and it's fine. But another little spike here, and I can't remember what that was. It might have been like the one of the sales, like the autumn sale or something like that. Whenever you have a sale, it makes a big difference, and most people will sort of basically hang out and wait for sales for games. More spikes here with other mini sales. Then we come to this March the 10th. Boom! The big launch and huge sales then. Like, that was the biggest day. And I was hoping it would be like that, because you never know, like, when you release a game in early access and you try again in full launch, will you get that same visibility and the same enthusiasm? But I know a lot of people who had been wishlisting the game were waiting for it to come out of early access before they bought it. Then it dropped, and it went up again, and it's dropped and dropped and dropped again, until it's still higher than it was before. But it's certainly back to mortal realm levels. So you get basically about 3 weeks of incredible sales, then Steam sort of removes the visibility of the game, and you're on your own again. And then you go back to basically however you can generate sales yourself. And we do that through videos and ads, and lots of ads on Facebook and Reddit and Twitter and that kind of thing, and of course word of mouth, and Steam recommends popular games. So because this game has been pretty popular, not Vampire Survivors level of popularity, but when you get above about 500 reviews or so on Steam, it might not sound like that much, but you basically you do get a bit of a push from Steam, and they'll start recommending the game to other people. I can only imagine how a popular game like Vampire Survivors must sell, and the amount of, like, it's a steamrolling thing. Once you start to become popular, you just keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed. Until then, you're basically on your own. And speaking of being on your own, when you're part of my Patreon, you're never on your own. Because you're part of this hardy bench of legends who have supported me in the Patreon so far. And I've got some exciting stuff coming up for the Patreon later this year. I'm starting to work on some things. Hint, 3D modeling, anyone? I'm going to be talking about that in more detail in the coming weeks and months after visiting my good mate Jeff of Hex 3D, who's there. We talked a lot about what I could do to make the Patreon a bit more interesting and of value to subscribers. And you'll be finding more about that soon. But hey, look, if you want to support me on Patreon, it's only a small amount compared to other Patreons. And, I do a mostly weekly update on my thoughts. And, whenever I get a new game, you get a copy. And as I said, I'll be giving you some new goodies and things. So, I really would appreciate Patreon support, because, I am a solo indie, and, this is my thing. So if you like what you see and you want to support me, I really appreciate it. And also, who else appreciates it? This guy. Rah! If you would like to be a patron, that would make my day. Rah! Oh, there we go. It's all in reverse after, Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Dane Simoneau, Daniel Funches, Bardi X, Brandon K, Ilya Gurevich, Pipe Punch, Noah Gudajan, Stone God, Timmy Boy, X Up Omega, Jeff Rowe of Hex 3D, Hopeless, and Eunice. I salute you all. I did want to talk about promotion as well, just quickly. As an indie, you are constantly sort of forced to yell and scream about your game, whether it's here or on Reddit, or on Twitter, or on Facebook, or on whatever platform it is. You're constantly having to try and cut through the noise. And I've been really fortunate to have had a wonderful audience in Swords and Sandals. It is a relatively small audience, I'm not going to lie. You look at the YouTube numbers, 8,000 subs, and we get maybe a couple of hundred people that will actually watch the video, because YouTube does not push my stuff, because I'm not doing crazy stunts every single day and that kind of thing. I do plan on updating my videos more often, doing more in the coming weeks and months, as I can basically breathe again after Swords and Sandals. But you have to constantly be promoting your stuff, and it is exhausting. I can see why people burn out on it. I don't enjoy the promotional side of it that much. Every time you're promoting, you are taking away from your own game development time, and Swords and Sandals Immortals has been a long development process, because I've had to promote it and do that kind of thing. But that's just the nature of the beast. When you're a solo developer, my business partner does help with the marketing and that kind of stuff. But it's a lot. You got to wear many hats. You know what I mean? And I did reach out to lots of different Twitch streamers and YouTubers and, all the major sites. Thanks, Kotaku, for not reviewing my game. You never do. But, despite all that, it didn't matter. Sales were pretty good. I got almost no coverage from anyone. A couple of the smaller sites did cover me. And unfortunately, no videos from the big YouTubers like Critical and that kind of thing. But Wonderbots did a video, which was cool. They're not huge, but they're not small either. And I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate guys like John Dingo and all those kind of smaller YouTubers who are part of the Swords and Sandals experience, who lent their voices to me and created Arena Champions and still make, and Master Wrath and those kind of guys who, make videos of the games. You guys, you're on the same boat as me. We're just trying to, get bigger and make a name for ourselves. It's not easy, and I really appreciate you supporting me, and hopefully my games have brought, you for your new subscribers and that kind of thing. But yeah, marketing's been hard. People just say, just get a Twitch streamer to do it, get a popular YouTuber to do it. I tried. I emailed them. I've done that. Even the previous ones who have played the previous games and that kind of thing. Sometimes they've moved on. Sometimes they're busy. Sometimes their email doesn't get through. You know what I mean? Like everyone had hoped Critical would do another feature video on the game. That guy's busier than everyone. He's a major celebrity now, and I was honored to have him as part of the game and lend his likeness and a voice. And he even did a Twitch video back in early access. So I can't just keep going back to him and say, please make more videos of my game. I really can't. And I was honored to have him be part of the experience. And if he never did another thing for Swords and Sandals, he's already done a lot already. All right, let's get back to the fun of reviews. This is going to be great. So as I said, we got 679 reviews that's in English. Altogether, 727 if you include other languages. There's lots of popular reviews. Like Mr. Fat Pepper says, my MC is over 13 foot tall, 900 pounds, and Skull F's. Oh, and yeah, okay, can't read that one. Curiam writes, stunning comeback. Woohoo! AR writes, decent game. But then you get something like Le Peter. I have an issue with how slow the loading for the menu is and everything's there. You get an almost 3-second blank screen in third position. Sacre bleu. Sorry, if you're French, I apologize. That's a terrible approximation of your accent. But look, this guy is basically saying there's a 3-second loading time in between areas. I got to load the content of the game somewhere in 3 seconds. I grew up in a time where, 10 minutes to load a Commodore 64 game sometimes, and, games that had 9 discs, you had to take them in, the Ultimate games like that. Look, he says the main menu music and sound is worse than the older games and you're better off playing the old games for free. You can't argue with people like that. I certainly try, but, what are you going to do? Spoffo DK writes, great nostalgia trip. Haven't played Swords and Sandals since I was a child. Super awesome developer working hard, communicating with players. Definitely a labor of love. Thank you, my friend, because this was a labor of love, and I think he hits upon a good point there. Basically, as long as you're communicating with people and telling people what you're up to and being transparent, I think it really helps. You know what I mean? You try... you wear your heart in your sleeves as a solo developer, and you have to take the criticism, and you want to be you want to be honest with people. Sometimes that backfires, but I try to at least keep you guys in the loop with where updates are for the game, what I'm working on, what I'm not working on, and in general that kind of works. Nuclear Money writes, bruh, if I wanted to limit myself and do everything in 300 days, I would play that mode. Don't shoehorn dumb limitations into the infinite mode. I want to be able to do what I want at my own pace. That was a bad change. I'll just go back to the old games. 33 hours in and decided thumbs down. I don't know what he's referring to. I honestly don't. I asked him what he was, never got a response. What are you going to do? Look, Mark writes, it's not for me, but I do love the idea of it. Didn't like the idea of menu systems having to go from one screen to another to buy items. So that kind of thing can be avoided if you just look at a video review of the game. Just look at some video gameplay from the Steam page. He played 20 minutes of the game, thumbs down, and refunded the game. They're basically the worst kind of customers you can have because, not only do they not bother researching the game, they don't even give it any time. They refund the game and they leave a stinky turd on the doorstep review for the next player. So what are you going to do? Like, you can't convince those people. But Gibito Yuchicha writes, love this game. You find yourself playing it for hours without even knowing. Awesome. I can't argue with that. So look, it comes and goes. There was tons of reviews. 641 positive, 86 negative. Overall, that's pretty good. And I've seen some awesome games out there with a lot lower review scores than that. So it's funny, I present a sort of pretty happy-go-lucky, friendly character here on YouTube, and I am that. But I do have I feel like I've got a temper, and I feel like a sharp tongue, and it's hard not to respond to some of the negative reviews and kind of go, "Come on, man! I put my heart into this. What's your problem?" And problem is you do that, and even with the best intentions, there's that saying like, never wrestle with a pig, because you like it, you hate it, the pig likes it, and you both get covered in mud, that kind of thing. So it's a paraphrase of that. But I know I've done that before, and even here, you can look at some of the negative reviews where I've tried to either give a snarky reply or try to clarify some things, and it's just ended up in a bit of a flame war, and then those ones get, people find those reviews helpful and they rise to the top because people love drama. And so it's not, they always tell you just, ignore the bad reviews. Don't respond unless, you're clarifying a point. That's good information for other indie developers out there. And I still am learning that. Even to, this day, I still need to learn to just let things roll off my back. It's funny though, once the game's been out for a while, I don't even bother reading the reviews for the old games like Classic Collection or, Swords and Sandals 2 and so on. Those games have had lots of reviews, but it's in the past. If you like the game, you don't like the game, too bad. It's just when you're in the heat of developing the game, you really get a little. You take it personally. I certainly find I do. You know what I mean? So that's my advice to you: is try to surround yourself with positivity and read the positive reviews. Don't only read the positive reviews, because it's important to read the negative reviews, because sometimes they do contain great feedback, and sometimes you wish they'd just written that feedback in the forums rather than, to give you a chance to fix things rather than just going boom. But in general, look, everyone would love to have 90% overwhelmingly positive, that kind of thing. 88% is fantastic. 81%, not quite so good, because if that drops down to 79%, it goes to mostly positive. Hey, if you're watching the video now and haven't reviewed the game yet, a couple of thumbs up reviews will keep that above 80%, and we'll be sitting pretty. But at some point I got to stop worrying about the reviews. Well, how did the game go? Let's check it out. Another graph. So this is the other piece of information I just wanted to share with you, and this is from the Steamworks site as well. And I've blurred out the numbers for obvious reasons, but you can see what my most popular games are here, and top Steam packages by revenue. And then top Steam packages by units. Right now, Classic Collection is still number one, but that's been out for about 4 years now. Already, Swords and Sandals Immortals sitting at number 2. So in the 9 months that it's been out, it's already outsold all these other games in terms of total revenue. Next, we have Swords and Sandals 2, then 5. Then it drops down to Pirates, Medieval, Crusader Redux, Spartacus, and the soundtracks, which of course don't sell much. They're for the real hardcore collectors. Units is another interesting one, because units is basically how many copies of the game you sold. Classic Collection, again, number 1. But if you look at 2 and 5 and Medieval, they've actually still sold more units in Immortals. But because Immortals had a higher price point in early access, it didn't sell as many units yet, but that will catch up because it's selling more and more units, and of course it's only been out for 9 months. I'm going to say this: Classic Collection is my biggest hit by far, and I'll never top that in Swords and Sandals. I don't think you ever can, truly lightning doesn't truly repeat twice. Immortals, however, is my most profitable game in the amount of time it's been out. So in the 9 months it's been out, it's made more money than all the other games, relatively. Then it drops down to 2 and 5 and so on. I've had a few disasters. I really have. I mean, Spartacus was an unmitigated disaster. It did not sell well at all. It did not recoup much of the money that I invested in it. That took me a year. I learned Unity at least, which is kind of cool. And then I don't use Unity anymore. I use Godot, but it was a good learning experience. And hey, look, I got a game on Nintendo Switch, which is one of those things that most people can only dream of. Crusader Redux didn't sell well at all either. I thought that it would have a bigger audience than it did, but turns out that was just a vocal minority. And there were some technical problems with that. I wish I hadn't built that in the same technology that I'd built the other games, styling and air. And I kind of went back to the well one too many times with that technology. And when I've you can see with Swords and Sandals Immortals, this runs a lot better and everything. And if I'd made Crusader Redux in the Godot engine, it was a missed opportunity. But if I ever do a Crusader sequel, I think Godot will be fun for that. I'm sticking with Godot for now. This is the game engine of choice. I highly recommend it to anyone. My next game will be made in Godot as well. Not every game can be a hit. Swords and Sandals Classic Collection, Immortals, and Swords and Sandals 2 were hits. 5 and Medieval and Pirates did okay. And Crusader Redux and Spartacus were not hits, which is a shame. But I put my heart into every game I make. I look back and I can always see, this could have done better, that could have done better. But, what can you do? You can only, hindsight is 20/20, right? Game dev is not a science. There's a lot of luck involved and a lot of, catching lightning in a bottle moments as well. But in general, look, this is back on the Steam page again. There's been tons of 300 active topics in the game, 300, and tons and tons of people, discussing the game and so on here on the Discord. There's all these screenshots of people playing the game and enjoying it. There's some brilliant fan art. Look how cool this is. Just fantastic stuff. Look at this one here. How cool is that? It's the Yeti product Redux by an awesome artist called Zevsky, who does really cool art. And this just shows you how big the Yeti product is. Gladiators are ready for battle. Brave corpse, you and the Yeti product. And he's done some great art. He actually did a lot of the loading screen art for the game. He's just a fan of the series, and I loved his art so much I put it in the game. But there's actually even like guides to the game. Third person POV, shout out, did an awesome 100% completing guide. Map event stat increases, species tier list, and everything. And that's all, if you can get a game that has engagement like that, that's great. So, let's start summarizing this all up, because this has been a bit of a long and rambling video. Okay, where are we now? Swords and Sandals Immortals is now out on Steam. It is done and dusted. I've done all the hard work with patches and so on. Every now and again, there might be a little fix I need to do, and you'll see a quick, hot fix and so on. There's no extra content planned right now. Maybe next year I'll do some DLC or something when I return to Swords and Sandals, but it's done and it's parked. The Google Play version is now in review, and hopefully in the next few days that will be reviewed and go live on Google Play, so you'll be able to play on your phone. And it actually runs pretty well on newer phones. Older phones, not so much. I've tried to limit the minimum version of Android, so you don't even try playing it on an old phone. It'll be a waste of your time. And the good news with that is it's actually cross-platform multiplayer, so you can play it on your phone against people on Steam. So that'll be cool. I've just updated all the Steam versions of the older games just because there was some sort of compatibility issues with sort of some Windows 11 machines and some black screen stuff. I hope this fixes all that. And what am I doing right now? I'm basically in development hell still. I'm going to tell you, one of the problems with making lots of games on lots of platforms is, especially on Google and Apple and everything, as they update their operating systems, you find you have to update your games often. And so like you get these messages from Google saying, if you don't update your game soon, we're going to remove it from sale. And it's like, come on, man. This game was made 5 years ago and I don't even remember how to compile it again, but you have to do it or you'll be removed. Back in the old days, if you made a game, it was there and it just worked. You put it into your Nintendo, your Sega, and you plug it in and it worked 20 years later. Now you constantly got to be updating your games, otherwise you get removed from sale. So I'm in the process right now, and it's a pretty tricky process because I've kind of forgotten a lot of how you compile for Air and styling and these old technologies, because I've used Air, then I used Unity, and now I'm on Godot, so I'm like 3 languages later. So I'm having to figure out just how I'm trying to get Swords and Sandals 2 and Swords and Sandals 5 updated for Google Play. If that works, then I'll try and update the other games. iOS and Apple, man, I don't even know. I didn't even know if there'll be versions of this. I don't even know if there'll be a Swords and Sandals Immortals for iOS and Apple because I've had so many problems with them. And at some point, I'll do another video of this down the track. But I did that burnout video before, and you can probably tell I'm a little kind of grizzly in this video as well. I'm just a little bit burnt out on the whole process. I've been doing this a lot longer than I thought I would with Immortals, and just when that finishes, and then Google say, hey, you need to update your old games and you need to convert this to this, and even the most awesome jobs, and I'm super grateful to be in this job. I mean, this is a dream come true, but a lot of them are just filled with days of tedium and just where you feel like you've just achieved nothing, and if you don't achieve something, you don't make any money a lot of the time, and I don't know. I'm ready to move on from Swords and Sandals, as you can probably tell. Like, I've got this great idea for my next game. I want to get started on it, but I still keep getting sort of dragged back into sort of patching and fixing these. I fixed up the classic collection on Steam the other day just by updating the version of Air and so on, so it would work on your machines. And all of a sudden, it broke something in Swords and Sandals 3. I hadn't even touched the code in Swords and Sandals 3, but all of a sudden, there's some kind of weird magic bug, and this is like just beyond me. Like, I haven't touched that code in years, and something broke. So what do? I don't know, man. So I'm going to try and fix that again today. Today, I'm going to just hopefully get Sword and Sandals 2 and 5, the Google Play versions, up and running. Then we'll see what happens there. And then, hopefully by the end of the week, I can just sort of park this. And next week, I just want to go on a hike or something, just get away from it all, and then come back, start working on a new thing, because Sword and Sandals has been amazing, but it's kind of reached its sort of, it's plateaued. It will continue to sell and so on, but there'll be diminishing returns. And I put everything into Immortals. Honestly, I put the whole kitchen sink in, and it's basically, it is what it is. It's the sales are going to go down like this now. It's afforded me the luxury to be able to keep going for at least the rest of the year and work on the next stuff. But you can't depend on it forever. So the time has come to explore new avenues, make new games, and see where that goes. And hopefully return to Sword and Sandals down the road. If you've liked this long kind of brain dump of a video, please subscribe to my channel. And I hope to promise you cool new things in the future. I hope to bring the Games Gladiator back and everything soon, that kind of stuff, and just have a bit more fun. I don't really like doing this sort of constant, how did Sword and Sandals go? What are we doing on Sword and Sandals Immortals? Blah, blah, blah. Because I've basically been doing that for the last 2 years. I want to sort of show you new things and show you a bit more of the game dev process as well, show you how I actually make games and that kind of thing. So that'll be coming. Until next time, my friends, thank you so much for, supporting me on this journey, supporting me on Discord, being part of the journey, all the positive reviews, all the feedback, all the bug reports, everything. Your passion has, certainly inspired me and kept me going through the, the tedium of making these games when they, haven't always been fun. I'm really proud of Swords and Sandals Immortals and how it turned out. I'm proud to have worked with everyone that helped me with the voices, the music, the art, everything like that. It was more, even though I say I'm a solo developer, it was a team effort, and I couldn't have done it without all you guys and my wife and family and everything. Until next time, my friends, the next video will be a bit more fun, but I'll see you real soon, and bye for now.